hit record, pause, and then, okay. So 4 is definitely an example of one of the hardest problems on the worksheet. So uh, our, well, the reason it's a hard problem, first off, is because the number in front is a 9. And so the trouble with 9 is that it can be made with 9 times 1, but it can also be made with 3 times 3. So that's like our first thing that we look for is that. If the number in front is non-prime, then just prepare to be like twice as long working on the problem. All right. So our objective is first off to understand that we're going to multiply two binomials together to make the problem. That's the goal. The trouble is that we can't just jump right in and say that it's 9a and 1a because, like what I wrote over here, it could also be 3a times 3a. I'm going to ask this question a lot over the course of the year, answer it with complete honesty. Do you understand that so far? Promise 100%? Okay. That's always objective one, is to build that first term. You're the boss of that. But we have to set up two possible templates because of the two different ways to make it. Objective number two, always, 100% of the time, 100% of the time, is to look only at that sign right there. The 24 in the middle means nothing. Okay, we look at the number in the back because, and the reason we care is because the numbers that we put in these two yellow blanks are going to multiply to make that number. And if that number is negative, like negative 20 is, then that means that I can only put in one positive and one negative. I couldn't do two pluses or two minuses because then when they multiply, they wouldn't make a negative, right? Still with me? Okay. After that, now, if it's a plus minus problem like this is where you head to the last step. And the last step is just guessing. And if you feel like you're missing something, you're probably not. You're probably closer to understanding it than you think because it is a guessing game. At the end of the day, what it comes down to now is, can I come up with two numbers that multiply to make 20? And you don't have to worry about saying negative 20 anymore because we've already got the signs. So we just go like this. It's either a 1 and a 20, or a 2 and a 10, or a 4 and a 5. That's your only objective. You might wonder, like, what about the 24? We're going to worry about the 24 later. Like, it's going to happen naturally. We don't control the negative 24. We just control the 20. And if we put the right numbers in the right places, then the 24 will happen naturally, like organically. And that's when we'll know we picked the right combo. But it is straight up, quite literally, a guessing game. So you have 1 and 20, or 20 and 1, 2 and 10, or 10 and 2, 4 and 5, or 5 and 4. Guidance I can give you is to start generally with the numbers that are closer together. That's not a guarantee by any means, but it's where I think more often than not you're going to find the hit. Like if you're playing Battleship, that's a good place to get your first guess. Sound good? What I can't tell you, because this is really like a 50-50 chance, is whether you want to use the top template or the bottom template. And that's up to you. So I would ask of you, do you want to do the top template or the bottom template? And we'll take it from there. Which one you want? Okay. And what order do you want them in? Do you want the 4 and then the 5, or the 5 and then the 4? 4 and 5? So far, what we've accomplished is we've made 9a squared. I need you to understand that. So I'm going to just take this up here and cross it off because like we controlled that. We already know that that's water under the bridge. And we've also made negative 20. So we can cross that off. I want to make sure your focus is clear, that you can conquer those. But what you can't necessarily conquer is the negative 24. That's where you just hang out and hope that it happens. Okay? So let's go. Let's see what happens. And you're gonna miss a lot. Get used to it. Sometimes you won't find it until the seventh try. So it doesn't mean you're bad at math or anything. It just means it is what it is. So do you know how to check it? That where you may be a little lost? Okay, so when we check it, you're not going to multiply these two. Why? Because you already know what it equals. I mean, you put it there. So why waste your time? And you're also not going to check these two and I won't ask you again because it's the same answer. You know darn well what they equal because you put them there. So don't waste your time checking things that you already know. What you are going to check are these purples. And I'm going to try to always use the same color. So maybe this will get stuck in your head. And when you make your page of notes, then you can use the same colors too. So we're going to check the purples. And notice when I do the purples, I'm connecting the two in the middle and the two on the outside. They're the ones we had no control over. What do the two in the middle multiply to make? Positive 12a, because it's a plus 4 and a positive 3a. So we have a plus 12a in the middle. And what do the two on the outside make? That's a negative. And 3 times 5 is 15. So we have a negative 15a. And you and I both know that if you add those two purple answers together over there, they don't equal what we want. What we want is for them to come out to be negative 24, right? So we can chalk that up as a fail. It doesn't mean that 4 and 5 are completely to be thrown away because what if we put them backwards? What if we put them in the other template? But I mean, if you think of all the possible things we had to try, that's one down that we can now say is not going to work. 4, 5 is not going to work in the bottom template. And I would hope you'd understand that in this case, switching the 4 and the 5 is an exercise in pointlessness because the threes being the same are going to keep the balance the same. So we could say 4 and 5, you're dead in the bottom template completely. So you have options at this point. Are you still with me? Option one is you can stick with the bottom template and keep forcing numbers in. That's what I do. I'm a work with one template guy. And when I've tried 1 and 20 and 20 and 1 and 2 and 10 and 10 and 2 and 4 and 5 and 5 and 4, if none of them work on the bottom template, then I throw that out and I move to the top. So what I'd like to do with you is let's stay in the bottom template, but let's call 4 and 5 dead. So let's transition over and let's go up a notch to the white ones, 2 and 10. So we're going to put in a 2. We're going to put in a 10. And again, we are not going to check the things with the yellow connectors. That is creepy when people do that. Don't you put them there. You know what they are. Check the purples. What do the two purples in the middle multiply to make? Correct. So positive 6a. And you'll get to a point where you're so expert at this that you won't write these purple things down like I'm doing. You'll be surprised. Maybe by later today or tomorrow, you'll be doing this in your head. So the two in the middle made 6. What do the two on the outside make? Negative 30. And as will always be the case, whether it's pre-algebra, algebra 2, pre-calculus, fourth year college math, you have to know how to do basic math. So we look at 6 minus 30 and say negative something, 24, right? It's what we wanted, right? Therefore, the problem is over. You can say that the answer to this problem is 3a plus 2 times 3a minus 10, and you don't have to do nothing else to do. It's done. When you find it, there is only one way. So when you find it, you don't go looking for others. Like you pat yourself on the back and move on. So we actually found it like on the second try, which was pretty cool. Does that feel any better? What else would you guys like to go over? And if no one else asks, you can keep asking all the questions. I can be all yours. I mean, I open it up to the class, but if no one else asks, I'm all yours. We can keep going over problems, the two of us, while they listen in. I'm all in. Would you like to try number 5 together? Yeah. Okay. Do you happen to remember from yesterday's lesson why I would classify this as an easier problem? Take it. There's the air conditioners on, so I can't hear. There, good, good. Yeah. So when this thing's on, it's really hard. I'm right under it, so I can't hear you. Correct. There is no number in front of the x squared or the n squared. That right there is great news. So that means that when we build our template, we're not going to have a lot of stress. So we're going to build our shells. And we know that we have to put an N here and an N here. And we know it's like this, the answer has to look like this, which is great. What are our signs going to be? 100%. And again, that's the part I can teach you. The rest of this, I can only sort of facilitate and help you learn. I can guide you and like kind of help you through the process, but I can teach you structurally how to do that. The rest of it is just trial and error. So we head over to the side now and we say to ourselves, what are all the numbers that we know that make 18? There's 1 times 18, 18 times 1. There's 2 times 9, 9 times 2, and 3 times 6, and 6 times 3. And my guidance again to you is start with the ones that are closer. Let's start with 3 and 6. What order would you like me to put them in? 3, 6, or 6, 3? Okay. You're going to learn something right now, and there's other people probably listening who could stand to learn the same thing. I'm glad you said it in this order because it's wrong, but I want you to learn from the wrongness exactly what I'm about to say. And if it doesn't make sense, just tell me, okay? Again, we're not going to check the things we controlled. We're going to check the purples. That one and that one. What does the inner purple make? Yep. And what does the outer purple make? And when you add those, you would agree you get positive 3n, right? So what we got was like the right number, but the wrong sign. We didn't want 3n. We wanted negative or minus 3n. Do you remember from the lesson what that means we have to do? Not the numbers. Don't ever swap the numbers. In this case, honestly, you'd get away with it. But as a 99% of the time rule of thumb, once you get the right number, whether it's the right sign or the wrong sign, don't touch anything. Don't move the ends. Don't move the sixes. Here's what you do. You take these signs, the plus and the minus, and you switch them to minus and plus. And again, in this case, because there's no number in front of n squared, you would get away with changing the numbers. As a general rule of thumb, though, if you switch the 6 and the 3, if there's a number in front of one of the variables, you throw the whole thing off. And you'll go from getting a 3n to like a negative 24n and you're dead. So you leave it alone, swap the signs. And why that works is because now the two purples in the middle still make 6n, but it's a negative 6n. And the two on the outside still make 3n, but it's a positive 3n. And that shifts that balance of power over to the negative, giving us the negative 3n like we want. Scale of 1 to 10. 1, completely lost. 10, I get it perfectly. Where are you at? Say again. Rad. So that's your answer. And we're on to number 6. Shall we continue? Okay. In the moment that I've done enough and you want me just to shut up, you can just tell me that you're good now, like you're ready to do some by yourself. Just let me know.
72 divided by
72, the factors. The factors of 72 are 1 and 72, 2 and 36, 3 and 24, 4 and 18, 6 and 12, and 8 and 9. Got it? And I have a sheet for you that I'll give you that has all those. I just don't know where it is right now. But you'll get one. All right. No sweat, dude. All right, here we go. 5m squared. And this is a medium sort of level. This isn't going to be as easy as the last one we did, but it's not going to be as potentially frustrating as the first one we did. Because the 5 is there, but he's a prime, you'll remember. And when it's a prime, then that means that there is only one template. So we know, take it to the bank, guaranteed that the only way this problem could be factorable is if it looks like this. 5 can't be divvied any other way. What will the signs be? Once again, one of each. Good. And again, that's the structure. That's the huge structure part that you've got to just trounce every time is the structure. Because if the structure goes wrong, then you're trying to build off of a defective foundation. It'll never work, but you nailed it. And now we're here. What are the numbers that multiply to make 12? What would you like to try? Sure. And what order would you like them in? So you want a 2 here and a 6 here? I'm totally down. And again, we're not going to waste our time checking the 4th grade arithmetic. We are, however, going to spend our time checking the purples. The purples are the key. Inside makes 2. I'm going to try not writing them down this time. See if we can be a little more efficient. The insides make 2. What do the outsides make? And if you add 2 and negative 30, it's negative 28, which is not what we wanted. And that's not terrible. It just means it's one less thing we have to check later. So what do you want? Where do you want to go? Do you want to swap the 6 and the 2, or do you want to move on to a different set of numbers? You pick. 4 and 3? I'm down. Did you not swap the 6 and the 2 because you did the math in your head and you know it's not going to work? Okay. I just want to make sure, like if you throw 5 and 6 out, with the bathwater, it's important that like I would hope that you mentally have already laid them to rest. So I hope that you had done uh I'm sorry, that was supposed to be a 2. I would hope that you had already done the math and that you saw the 6 and the negative 10. So be careful when you throw numbers away because it's really important to be organized. Um, so if you use 6 and 2, you should see it through to completion, just FYI. But I'm down. Let's try 3 and 4. That's what you said, I think. What do the 2 in the middle make? What do the 2 on the outside make? And what's 3 and negative 20 add to make? Positive 3, negative 20. Add those together. You said 17. I'm not going to let you get away with that. If you have $3 in your bank account and you swipe your debit card for $20, there's no way you're going to check your balance tomorrow and have $17, is there? So what did you mean to say? You owe the bank money, so it's a negative, right? Negative 17. Okay. And again, I'm having a hard time hearing you, but I think you said 17. So I'm sorry if I'm wrong. You had the right number, but fundamentally, there is no way in God's green earth that a positive 3 can be decreased by 20 and then somehow equal a bigger number of positive 17. So your brain gave you the right number. You had the balance out kind of correctly. You had the 17, but again, it has to be negative 17. That's non-negotiable. And so that's where the basic math will haunt us because it breaks my heart when we're doing factoring problems and a kid has the right answer and then they overlook it because of the arithmetic at the end. And you had it, you just didn't know it. So the answer is done. It's on the board. We found it. 17 and negative 17 are not even close. It's like a cat and a Tyrannosaurus Rex. They're just, we don't even put them. And that happens a lot in younger grades where not enough people yell at you when you're young for saying positives when you mean negatives. But I will. So yeah, a positive minus a bigger negative is always going to be a negative. Something like that. You have a question?
Yeah, can we go?
Yeah.
You don't have to draw it. 'Cause it's
Just read it. Just read it to me. Yeah.
okay.
I'm ready.
9n squared.
Yep.
Minus 89n. 72.
So I'm pretty sure that Parker has found, what number is this, by the way?
32.
So this is number 32 if anyone wants to come along for the ride. Yeah. This were a video game. This is a boss battle for sure. And this is a boss battle where you can probably plan to use all your extra lives and power-ups and stuff like that. This is a wicked one. So this checks just about every box. The only thing about problem 32 that I would say thank you to the math gods for is thank you for giving me a plus sign. Because that means that I'm not going to have the plus and minus vibe to work with. I'm going to have a pair of the same signs, which is great news. So that's the one thing that was given to me as a reprieve. The bad news for you is that there are 2 possible templates for the 9. And the numbers are big.
So
Right. And so 72 has a lot of different factors at the back. There's a 1 and a 72. There's a 2 and a 36. There's a 3 and a 24. There's a 4 times 18. There's a 6 times 12. And I think 8 times 9 is the last one. My advice to you is never going to change. And when you achieve expert level, there will be exceptions. You'll start to understand the exceptions to what I'm about to say. But my advice will always be, Parker, to take the numbers in that list that are the closest together and start there. Unless you have a reason, some direct sign on your paper that makes you think someone's messing with me. I think I'm going to use a 72 and a 1. I mean, that happens honestly from time to time. But what I'm feeling is, and I'll kind of show you how my brain constructs this. First off, what are the signs?
They're both minuses.
Yeah, sorry, I heard you say it and I just didn't write it down. So they're both minuses. I'm going to walk you through how my brain attacks this. My brain right away goes in and says 89 is huge. How do I get there? Well, to get to a huge number, you have to power up the ship. You have to say, can I put a strong number at the other end of a strong number to make a strong number? And the answer is I can. I can put a 9 right here. No guarantee that this is going to work. However, by putting the 9 there, I know, but by putting the 9 there, I've achieved a lot of bulk. I just created negative 81n. And then I just have to naturally fill in. Just, thank whatever adult in your life forced you to learn your times tables. You know your times tables, you know your factors. And then you know that the other pair that goes with 9 is the 8, and we hope that it works. And if you put the 8 there, there's your negative 8n, and then you're like, add them together. Holy smokes, jackpot.
You have
Right?
answers.
The answer sheet is on Canvas, okay? It was, yeah. My red pens are around here somewhere. Probably over there where I can't see them under the TV. Um, Answers were posted yesterday. So feel free to always kind of check as you go. Are you done with the whole thing?
Yeah.
Nice work. Who else has questions? Got a question? Do you remember this? Okay. So this is what we did yesterday. And so you're not behind. As of this moment in time, you're officially caught up. If you know how to factor quadratics, you're good. Perfect.